traders. Let's see what's going on in the market today. Looking at the 4-hour chart down here, and we can see that this morning, very early, before the opening bell actually, we took a serious jog upwards. So actually it started yesterday afternoon. It went up to the midpoint of that channel that I had drawn, that I started seeing the development of yesterday. And then this morning, it again jogged upward. So we are looking at the channel as being a legitimate reason to think it's going up right now. And the blue line here, the SMA, I think is a pretty good level that we can see as a destination point, possibly. So I put in a blue price line to kind of show the 4-hour charts SMA there, so that I could see it on the main screen. So we can see that's within hitting distance here. It's not very far up there. And it also happens to coincide with the upper leg of that channel, which is, that's a pretty good sign that that's probably where we're heading. It may take a while to get there, I don't know, but we are very, very close to it. I'm looking at the immediate chart right here, and we can see that there is a little bit of a drop here, and I suspect that it will drop down probably to the gold SMA here. I'm kind of waiting for that to happen before I do a long, which is kind of where I want to be right now. I'm also waiting for the MACD to make its turn there. Okay, I went ahead and put in some alerts here to kind of show the possible places I think it might go at this gold SMA, and then here, that's kind of like the resistance level that it had hit just before that great big leg upward this morning. So I would say, once a resistance level gets broken, it turns into a support level, and so that's why I put that there. It also is very, very close to the blue SMA on the short-term chart as well. So it's close enough. All right, so we're watching it drop. Ooh, it kind of bounced off of there. So I went ahead and got into a long position right there. That's possible. That's all the drop that it's going to get, and the MACD is looking really good. Now I redid my Fibonacci line like I was talking about doing, and it's pretty short term. We took the low over here, you can see on the 1-hour chart here, the low, and then the next peak, and then the next low. And so that low was just a little while ago. It was just before that. Well, it was quite a ways before that leg up. But anyway, so that lays out kind of a pattern, and you can see that the 100% line almost exactly coincides with that blue SMA and the top of the channel. So we now have 3 points that I think are very, very likely to get hit here and very soon. Whether it be today or the next day, I don't really know. It kind of depends on what happens. So the MACD is looking good. We are in a positive position here, looking really, really good. Going to test it a little bit there, and it actually broke through it. So I'm slightly concerned. I do look at the 1-hour chart here, and I can see, I'm kind of sorry I didn't see it before, but there is a resistance level that I kind of missed. It's right through here, and that's where the pink line is, and you can kind of see, I think, what we're fighting right now. It's gone flat for a while, and that's acting like a pretty strong resistance level right through there. So it's going to have to get through that point before it goes up. And the other thing that I'm beginning to see on the 15-minute chart, the 1-hour chart, you can look at the MACDs, and they're all kind of peaked out and looking like they might be tipping over. And now we've broken through this gold SMA right through here. I will realize this a little bit later, and having been through the day and going back and reviewing what I've done, I think that I was a bit naive in missing that. But, I still think it's going to go up. So I went ahead and drew in another dotted line up here to kind of show the peak that it has been. And I was comparing that to the previous peak that it had over here. And you can see, if you zoom in a little bit right here, you can see that that is lower than this last peak. So at least one thing that is in my favor about it going up is that we just hit a higher peak and kind of pushed that. sealing up a little bit higher. So we are in a negative position right here, but our MACD has nicely dropped down and may be turning. So hopeful. Okay, now we're back up to where I got in, and I'm hoping that this gold SMA doesn't act like a resistance level now. Got a minute and 28 seconds before the opening bell, and that looks wonderful. Very nice. Shot up to $30, which is a huge trade, and decided that was enough for me. I wanted to just go ahead and get out because that was a good trade. So I went ahead and placed my order and kind of immediately regretted it, which in hindsight, again, I probably kind of jumped the gun there. I went ahead and got into another long position almost immediately because it just seemed to want to be going up even further. So it took me a while to get executed there. And then, of course, it dropped because it often does that. And so I put my limit order in way up here. I'm kind of shooting for big things here. I do think it'll probably get up there eventually, but that was not a very wise move on my part right through here. You can see that it has dropped down. We can see the MACD, or not the MACD, excuse me, the SMAs are not looking good. This is losing momentum here. We can see on the RSI that we have lost momentum. This peak is a lot lower than these peaks over here. So they kind of are showing a loss of momentum here. We can see a turning over here, and the last big red candle is actually now below the green SMA, excuse me, the green candle. And it is possible we're going to see a great big drop in the next few minutes and hours. The MACD again is showing a drop. So I'm sitting at a huge loss right now. I lost $71 on that trade, just kind of holding out and waiting. So that wasn't probably the wisest move on my part. The first trade I made was okay, but then I got in too soon on that second trade. I was too excited about it going up, and I didn't want to see any other information out there. And you always have to ask yourself in trading, what is the reason I think it's going up? And then you have to ask yourself, for the same information, what are the reasons I think it's going the other way? Why is it going down? And because you'll have evidence to show both. And so you have to weigh both of those and see which one is stronger to figure out the probabilities of where you're going. So anyway, I'm sitting in this huge loss position. The MACD is looking good. I'm hoping that it will come up. And now I'm kind of voicing my concern here that I'm seeing over here about the MACDs turning over. And it's like, it might have a bigger drop before we get up to that point, which I still think is possible, but it may be a day or two. I don't know. Okay, the MACD is not looking good here. It didn't quite get up to where I had gotten in. Okay, now it did and came really, really close to it. But I'm still hanging on to that position. At least I got back all of that loss. And now it's above where I got in, so that was good. And here I did a reverse order. So I finally acted on the information that I was seeing, which was a good thing. Got into a short here. And I'm not hoping for a whole lot. You can see I put in my limit order pretty tight there, but I can't see it over here, so that means it's a pretty good trade. I think that would be all I would need for the day. So kind of waiting. Okay, here's where I got in, and it just made a new high. So the MACD kind of went down and then it came right back up again. So, and the RSI is still high here. This is just the 5-minute chart, so I'm not giving that a whole lot of credence, but it is there. The RSI is also really, really high on the 15-minute chart, and it also looks like it might be tipping over. So there's just some conflicting information this morning. I think it wants to go up, but there's just enough signs that it might be going down to give people pause. I don't know. So I actually turned this into a reverse order down here because I thought, well, if it drops down there, I think I want to be in a long after all, because we seem to be creeping up towards that high, that goal that I think it's going to get to. And my screen is kind of squished down a little bit more than usual, so it These candles are huge. There's minimal up and down movement that you can see, but it's a huge dollar amount. So waiting to see. Looks like it's going to drop here. All right, at this point, we had some very fast moving candles, and it was 10 o'clock. I guess maybe there was a report or something that I missed that came out right then. I should have been looking at that maybe. And it zipped up and then zipped down, and it executed my order, and I got into a long, and then it actually dropped down a little bit further. And you can see the screen hasn't even recovered from that huge movement yet. So we're just all over the place here. And so now I'm sitting in a long position, and I'm not sure that that was the best move. It did drop down, and hopefully I'm kind of hoping that this will act as a support, but I'm kind of questioning that it will on this chart here. We're kind of seeing a possible drop here, and I'm just not sure at this point what's going to happen. Okay, we're leveling off here. Drop through that support, not good, but our MACD is looking good, might recover. I put in my limit order a little bit lower at that peak that it had last time, hoping that maybe I can get something out of that. Okay, remember I'm in a long position, so this is a negative trade here. And went ahead and I realized that I didn't have a 20 SMA, which I often do on my charts when I trade. I like the way that it interacts with the gold one. The 20 and the 50 interact together. And you can kind of see, the trend line, the 180-day one here, is going up. But then these two are kind of playing with each other and they're flipping, kind of weaving together and showing me that there's possibly another uptick that it's going to get, that it may not drop too far. And we can also see that this low right here coincides with this low right here. So I'm hoping that that's kind of a new support now that it's broken through the blue SMA. The MACD is pretty low, going up, so that's good. And then it's not anymore. And I'm trying to be reasonable here and see if there's more evidence of it dropping in the immediate future. It did make a new low right here in this point, so that's a little concerning. Not really sure exactly where it's going at the moment. This is not looking good. That's not looking good. It could definitely get down to the 38.2% line right here, which is 131. That would be another support level. That Fibonacci line, I think it's pretty strong. The other point it could get down to is that 112. That would be a huge loss. That would be terrible. And that's only on the 15-minute chart, so that's pretty weighty right there. Lost all my profits now, and I'm actually in the hole a little bit. I'm in my fourth trade right now, so I've got about $20 in commissions that I'm taking out of that as well. So it's been a little bit of a frustrating morning. So again, I'm still thinking it will get up to that blue line. I haven't given up on that. However, I do think that it is going to drop. Obviously, it is dropping, and I think it may drop some more before that happens. So I'm just kind of deciding whether I should do a reverse, get out, hang on. What is the best course of action here? Okay, now it's down to the 131 level, and it did seem to bounce off of that. So hoping that that will hold. It's going to go test it again. Dropped below it a little bit, and then immediately bounced back up. We're seeing some pretty good recovery candles here. Really good recovery. So now the MACD doesn't look good, and it didn't get up super far. And at this point, somewhere along the line I did a reverse. Okay, forgot to check that one. So I did get into a reverse at that point, and now I've got an exit order here. So I've made $6.25. I'm in my fifth trade, about to end the fifth trade. So it's about $55 in commissions. So I'm not a huge loss today, just having trouble getting momentum going here. Okay, so I'm out of position here, and now I'm back in again, thinking that perhaps it will go up. And it did go up a little bit. Oh, it's this trade right here. But not a whole lot, kind of sitting there. It dropped down and tested that 131 line again. All right, now this is interesting because the second candle here started way higher than this candle. That's pretty good momentum building up there. And the MACD is also looking really, really good. So I put in an exit order right here, and I think that it's very likely that it will get up to that point. I'm just kind of waiting to see. Big candles. Okay, we had another big jump where the next candle started higher than the previous candle. And so that also shows that I think it's a glitch actually in the computer program, but it does show that there is some huge momentum building up there. So that's very good. And then it kind of dropped back down again. Woo, tricky, tricky, tricky. All right, so I'm out. This is my 6th trade. And this is where it got me. I've made $48, but when you take out the commissions, I'm just about $10, $13 shy of my daily goal. So I was a little bit frustrated with that, and I really would like to make one more good trade. It doesn't have to be a huge one. I want to get to my goal for the day. And so I'm looking over here and I'm seeing maybe some green candles. I think maybe that Fibonacci line was a good support that it will bounce off of before it goes up. So I'm kind of waiting for a little bit of a drop and didn't seem to really get one. So I went ahead and placed another long position right through here. And then I kind of regretted it because I'm looking at the MACD and thinking, it's going to drop further. I know it will. I should have just waited. So patience is a virtue, huh? And I should have just waited just a little bit longer to get in. I think it'll be okay, but it's a shame. So, kind of waiting out this drop. Got my exit order right up here. Dropped a little bit further. Dropped a little bit further and a little bit further. Okay, and it actually blew through that blue SMA, so that was good. And it got up just far enough above my order. I decided this is 11:37. This is ridiculous. I need to stop trading, and I just can't make that last little bit. So basically, I just covered my last trade commission. I basically broke even on that last trade, even though it looks good on the screen. I've made $53, but I really haven't because that's a fair amount of trades for this derivative that I'm trading because those commissions really add up. So I've actually only made $22 in profit, and I've had 7 trades. You can see my trades here. I really only had one great big bad trade, but you can see even though the trades look decent right here, it was not the best of trading days. I kept making kind of bad decisions and reacting improperly to things and getting in too soon, sometimes getting out too soon. And so anyway, kind of a rocky trading day. Thanks for joining me.